I know what you're thinking. He's late. Well, wrong again. Well, it's not that I'm not late. It's just that you have no idea how close the show came to not even happening at all. And good morning, April, if you're out there. This comment was from 33 minutes ago. Who knows? Felony Melanie. I don't even know where you've been lately. I say that because I didn't see you on the after show. And she's got to smoke for me to make me feel better. You guys are enjoying the new emojis there. Well, I get to add more emojis because we unlocked more memberships. More memberships equals more emojis. If we get 10 more members, I get to unlock even more emojis. For some reason, those are a thing that people actually love. My sister's here. You're here. Nice. Good morning. That makes me happy. Always makes me happy to see you, April. Hello, sister, as well. Michael Hendricks is here. Lauren's here. That's a pretty good crew. Let's see if I could do this. Oh, it's me. I was asleep until exactly 7 minutes ago. I was supposed to wake up early, right? I was supposed to wake up early. I was supposed to call the plumbing guys, have them fix the heat. I have been so tired that I just have not been sleeping well the last couple of days. So it's really been sort of a miracle that I was able to get up at all. But I'm here. And I think it's because I just, I could sense you guys crying out. I actually found a meme to share. It's David Tennant, Time Lord, Doctor Who. And the meme is when you don't set an alarm, but you still wake up on time anyway. He says, the laws of time are mine. And that's exactly what happened this morning. I didn't upload it into the show, though, because, that would have been too good. First of all, let me just double check. You guys can hear me all right? Melatonin. I could take melatonin. But sometimes I stay awake on purpose, April. Sometimes I'm holding my phone, scrolling and other things, and I'm nodding off, and I'm falling asleep, and then I stay awake. Sometimes I fight it. Sometimes I stay awake as long as I possibly can. It's a big weekend. I know that Drew went live the other day. I wanted to share what he shared in case you guys don't follow him on social medias. Unfortunately, what Drew's talking about is a very big deal, but it's not the biggest deal. For more on this, let's go to our very own Drew Breezy.
Police lieutenant, and I now seek and speak the truth for my fellow first responders, particularly law enforcement officers and the humble people of 911 and dispatch who are overworked as much as they are overlooked. Alec, I saw the wave of emotion come over you as the judge read her ruling on the Brady violation that allowed you to breathe a deep breath of free air, potentially for the rest of your life. But I know something that the average person may not think about when they see that sense of relief wash over your body. You're still a hostage to what happened that fateful day, and that's the reckoning that you'll have to live with eternally. There's no doubt in my mind that you feel remorse for the victim and her family. There's no monetary judgment that will ever satisfy the loneliness left when Helena Hutchins was killed by the gun in your hand. Of course, if you had a do-over, none of this would be relevant. This is where I ask you to take a moment to realize that the heaviness of this tragedy could happen to anyone. After all, as an actor, you were just doing your job. You didn't think about the heaviness of taking someone's life. Judge Mary Marlowe Summers said it best in the sentencing of Hannah Gutierrez Reed, quote, "But for you, Miss Hutchins would be alive. A husband would have his partner and a little boy would have his mother," end quote. The heaviness of her death, the protection of your career, your livelihood being in jeopardy, the financial exposure, your family being endlessly harassed, the social media grenades that you and everyone around you are experiencing, all of it is quite a heavy load, isn't it? All for just doing your job. I just want to remind you of a tweet you made back in September 22nd, 2017, and you posted a link to an LA Times story about a man who was shot by police in a 7-Eleven parking lot. This isn't my attempt at taking a victory lap here, as a man died in that incident also, but you said it to millions of people who follow your Twitter account. So hopefully you did some research into what happened before using that enormous platform of yours. Your exact words in the tweet were, "I wonder how it must feel to wrongfully kill someone." I think it's too much of a cheap shot to say, well, now you know. But it doesn't address the damage you caused with your words in that scenario. Several bystanders took video of that incident. That's the norm in police work these days. Several people standing around with their phones on record, yelling things, and watching a literal fight to the death in some cases, but through a 5 or 6 inch screen as opposed to what is just beyond their lens. It's also the norm in police work to have people automatically assume that the police are at fault, just as you did with your tweet. And by proxy, you subjected millions of followers to that same line of thinking. The truth didn't seem to matter. The likes, the retweets, and the virtual signals somehow outweigh the complexities of the entire incident. There was no discussion in your tweet about what led up to the shooting. You didn't point out that the man that was shot was physically fighting and resisting the uniformed police officer, and that as they hit the ground together, the man, luckily unsuccessfully, tried to take the officer's gun. It's a fair assumption that had the man got a hold of the officer's gun, that he would have used it on the officer, ending the life of yet another public servant who risked their life so that yours is safer. Ripping apart another family, making widows or widowers, and forcing children to grow up without their father. That officer was just doing his job. That officer cleared many legal hurdles, and it was determined that the level of force he used was appropriate to prevent death or great bodily harm to himself or someone else. He still has to live with the demons of taking someone's life, just like you. It's a consequence of the job of being a law enforcement officer that many in the general public overlook or mischaracterize as somehow something every cop wants, like it's an accomplishment or something. Is it possible that tweets like yours contribute to that foolish notion? Right after the shooting, you went on George Stephanopoulos' show on ABC and complained about George Clooney's statement regarding your incident. You said, quote, "There are a lot of people who felt it necessary to contribute some comment to the situation, which really didn't help the situation at all," end quote. So how does that feel? You mean your life was turned upside down and someone in the Hollywood elite with tons of influence and millions of social media followers made careless comments about your case that maybe swayed the public opinion about you and the incident? Maybe those comments affected your family. Maybe those comments put enough social pressure on the prosecutors that they decided to put your case in front of a grand jury, and now your freedom and liberty is in the hands of a prosecutor who is unnecessarily under pressure to see you in prison blue. All for just doing your job. The 3 years of sleepless nights and endless meetings with attorneys, the brutal attacks on the people that love you, all because of their association with you and because of your actions. Not to mention having to live with the nightmares and trauma of the incident itself, replaying the scenario over and over in your head while you sit in disbelief of how you got there. The heaviness of taking someone's life and ripping huge holes among their friends and families, not knowing what your courtroom fate holds or whether or not you'll be able to spend the rest of your life free or you have to spend them in prison, leaving your spouse and children to fend for themselves, all because you were just doing your job. Do you see the damage that people of influence who feel it necessary to contribute some comment to the situation can cause? Enjoy your freedom, Mr. Baldwin. The criminal justice system worked in this case, and you have been absolved of the criminal part of wrongdoing if there was any. Someone else is doing time for it anyways, so they got their pound of flesh, right? Maybe you won't be so quick to comment on horrible personal tragedies next time. Maybe there's more to the story than just a casual glance can bring. Unfortunately for most, but for you, Alec, thankfully, you no longer have to wonder how it must feel to wrongfully kill someone, all for just doing your job. We should ask guys like Ben Darby, Christopher Schur, Cody Smith, Matthew Mistretta, Brett Hankinson, and John Mattingly, who, by the way, was shot and almost killed but had his good name smeared, or a whole host of cops who were just doing their job. If you do know, please tell all your friends and your followers. Because in a police officer's line of work, there isn't a prop master to share the blame. And in the typical 7-Eleven parking lot, the director's not going to yell cut, so you could try it all over again. I'm Drew Breezy, and I'm entitled to my opinion.
Drew is very good at that. I'm going to tell you that just as an interesting case in point, he's talked to John Mattingly before. He's had an interview with the famous police officer from the Breonna Taylor case. I've talked to Matthew Mistretta and Ben Darby. So we've got a foot in the world of those police officers, and that's obviously why we feel as strong as we do about it. I come to a different conclusion about this than Drew, though. He says that justice has been served, that due process has been done, and that although for Alec Baldwin the process is over, he's got to carry on some weight about having taken a life. How naive are you, Drew? Alec Baldwin was never in jeopardy. Let's not kid ourselves. It comes down to him and this prop master who put in a live round. You know, that's some kind of negligence or something that should get you sued. But the gun was in his hands, and no one that's ever handled a gun is going to tell you that it just goes off. But even so, he's pointing it at someone. He's pulling the trigger. That's a measure of strict liability, whether he had intention to or not. That's a degree of manslaughter that he should be held to account for. The person who put the wrong round in the chamber is not guilty of manslaughter. They're guilty of being bad at their job. I wanted to discuss a few specific things about this, just to kind of make my point. So why did the case get dismissed? Here's something interesting about me. Everything's about me. I found this out my senior year of college. I had to go see my academic advisor. Her name is Beth. Beth is pretty cool, but Beth was liberal as all get out. It doesn't matter, but I'm going up to see her, and she goes, well, you know, this semester you've got practicum, which means you have to get an internship somewhere. And so I went up there, and I wanted to talk to her about getting an internship. She says to me, well, Jonathan, you've been pre-law, so let's get you an internship at a law firm. And I said, what? I'm pre-law? She goes, yeah, you've been on the pre-law track this entire time. We have loaded up all of your classes so that you can become a lawyer. And I'm like, I don't want to be a lawyer. If I had been smart, I would have said, yes. It all worked out for old John. Being a lawyer pays a lot of money rather than what I've done instead with my life. At least being in a position where I could, go get a Juris Doctorate or a master's or whatever, because there is such a thing. And then, I could go past the bar or whatever, be an attorney. If I had known what I was onto, I would have leaned into it. Because when she said, let's get you an internship at a law firm, I should have said, hell yeah, because I didn't know at that point that networking is how you actually make your life happen. I thought it was hard work. I thought it was doing your best and being good at what you do. I didn't think it mattered who you knew. And I'm in a state where I don't know anybody. My parents are not well connected. They don't even live here. So I was a bit of a chump because I said, no, thanks. But having taken all these classes on how to become an attorney, I can tell you something pretty basic. And the reason why I mentioned to you that I know these things in the context of having a bachelor's degree is because what you need to know about the case being dismissed against Alec Baldwin is that it's something that you learn in your first year. It's a case and a precedent called Brady v. Maryland. Now, lots of people know this. I'm not the only one that knows it. In fact, what I'm trying to tell you is that this is basic lawyer 101 stuff. This is stuff you learn in Intro to Being a Lawyer. Brady v. Maryland, right? What Brady v. Maryland says is that if the prosecution has evidence that's exculpatory, it's obligated to turn that over to the defense. Like if a cop or a prosecutor or some sort of investigator comes across some sort of evidence, whether circumstantial, direct, and it leans to exonerate the suspect of any wrongdoing, they are obligated to give that to the defense. The defense shouldn't have to find it. The prosecution can't say, well, this doesn't make our case for us. We're trying to prosecute Alec Baldwin, and we found this piece of evidence that makes it harder to prosecute him. So we're going to bury that. We're going to make sure that doesn't come up at discovery when we're having pretrial motions of discovery and we're showing the judge what evidence we're going to present to the jury. We can't just hide that. That's Brady v. Maryland. Very, very, very basic stuff. So why did the case against Alec Baldwin get dismissed? This is from Reuters. Alec Baldwin's arrest shooting case was dismissed over withheld evidence. From Santa Fe, New Mexico, July 12th. A New Mexico judge dismissed involuntary manslaughter charges against Alec Baldwin on Friday, agreeing with his lawyers that prosecutors and police withheld evidence on the source of the live round that killed Rust cinematographer Helena Hutchins in 2021. Sorry if I mispronounced her name. 3 days after Baldwin's trial began, New Mexico District Court Judge Mary Marlo Summer threw out the case, and the actor's lawyers alleged a cover-up by prosecutors who have been plagued by missteps since the first charges were filed 18 months ago. Breaking down in tears, the multiple Emmy Award-winning actor, but not Oscar, hugged his wife, Hilaria Baldwin, as other family members wept in public gallery. Baldwin faced an unprecedented criminal prosecution as an actor for an on-set shooting, and his lawyers said prosecutors dragged him through a cesspool of improprieties. He did have a gun in his hand, and somebody did die. So I don't know how much we can call it impropriety. Baldwin and his family led court without speaking to reporters. The state's withholding of the evidence was willful and deliberate, Summers said in her delivering decision. Dismissal with prejudice is warranted to ensure the integrity of the judicial system and the efficient administration of justice. What does that mean, dismissal with prejudice? It means that they can't go after him again. It means that he's already been placed in jeopardy, court jeopardy, for what's been going on. There's this, you may have heard of before, double jeopardy. It's not just what happens after the first commercial break on a game show, but double jeopardy is a tenet that you cannot be placed jeopardy twice for the same crime, meaning that if the state can't make its case, after a certain point, you've been placed in jeopardy of losing your freedom, losing your life. State can't keep going against you. So they said that he had already been placed in jeopardy at a certain point, and jeopardy attached, in other words, and they can't go back against him. The actor's lawyer, Alex Spiro, told the court that Santa Fe Sheriff's Office took possession of live rounds in March as evidence in the case, but failed to list them as in the Rust investigation file or disclose their existence to defense attorneys. The real reason you didn't inventory the evidence is because it could have been jeopardized the law enforcement case, Spiro told Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office Corporal Andrea Hancock, the lead investigator in the Rust case, in cross-examination on Friday. Erlinda Johnson, one of the state prosecutors on the case, resigned on Friday. The fourth prosecutor to quit or step down. I did not intend to mislead the court, the lead state prosecutor, Carrie Morrissey, said after taking the unusual step of defending herself from the witness stand. The state prosecutor took the witness stand? That is very unusual. That's bizarre. My understanding of what was dropped off at the sheriff's office on this computer screen, and it looks absolutely nothing like the live rounds from the set of Rust. Many legal analysts said the case should never have been brought to trial in the Santa Fe Court District Attorney's Office. The prosecution felt it had to cheat in order to get the results it wanted. This is the worst of our system can display. Hutchins died in Hollywood's first on-set shooting in nearly 30 years, as Baldwin was directed to point a revolver at her and set up a camera shot during the filming southwest of Santa Fe. The weapon fired a .45 caliber inadvertently loaded up by the movie's armor, Jaina Gutierrez. The Colt .45 rounds at the center of the dismissal were handed to the sheriff's office on March 6. Troy Teskey, a friend of Thel Reed, the stepfather, on the same day, she was convicted of involuntary manslaughter. So she was convicted of involuntary manslaughter because she did her job in a terrible way. She put the wrong thing in the wrong gun. Hers is involuntary manslaughter. And you're going to tell me he's not guilty of involuntary manslaughter at least too? Again, there's no intent there. He didn't think he was going to be killing someone. But you know what? If you're texting and driving and you lose control of the wheel, and you run over a guy on the sidewalk, you had no intent to do that either. If you're driving along and you're just doing your job as a UPS driver, and let's say you're not negligent at all, somebody still gets run over. You might still be guilty of involuntary manslaughter. I just find it hard to believe that the prop master, is guilty of involuntary manslaughter. But Alec Baldwin is not. I say what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Let's talk about the prosecutor, Orlando Ocampo Johnson. She's a special prosecutor who gave an opening statement about Baldwin being reckless. But who is Orlando Ocampo Johnson? She's a special prosecutor. Well, let's do some basic Googling. Someone has been telling me constantly that I need to be Googling people. Well, for one thing, Orlinda Ocampo Johnson works at the law office of Orlando Ocampo Johnson. You can call today for a free consultation if you want. What does Orlinda Ocampo Johnson do? Well, she's a personal injury law and criminal defense law attorney. It says it right on her website. I'm looking at her website right now. She does criminal defense representation, personal injury and wrongful death representation, asset forfeiture, and white-collar crime representation. It would be wrong to call her an ambulance chaser, wouldn't it? It would be wrong to liken her to Lowell the Hammer Stanley or somebody, right? She hablas Espanol, but she's a highly experienced and successful criminal defense attorney and personal injury attorney. This is all from her website. Has represented hundreds of clients facing federal and state criminal charges and obtained billions of dollars. That's in capital letters. For our clients that have been wrongfully injured due to auto accidents, semi-tractor trailer accidents, work accidents, slip and fall accidents, and other wrongful injuries. Orlinda Ocampo Johnson will passionately protect your constitutional rights when facing federal and state criminal charges and aggressively fight for justice. By the way, many of these words are capitalized. I don't know if she thinks her website is just as important as the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution, where you should just randomly capitalize words. But many of these words are just randomly capitalized. Criminal charges is capitalized. Aggressively fight is capitalized. Justice, compensation, capitalized. Wrongfully injured is capitalized. So when you're wrongfully injured in an auto accident, semi-tractor trailer accident, work accident, slip and fall accident, and other wrongful injuries, at the law office of Orlando Ocampo Johnson, we will prepare an impassioned, thoughtful, and vigilant legal defense tailored to you for a broad range of federal and state criminal charges, and devotedly fight for justice when you have suffered from a wrongful injury from an auto accident, semi-tractor trailer accident, work accident, slip and fall. She keeps mentioning slip and fall. It's because in the workplace, slips, trips, and falls, number one source of workplace accidents. Protection from prosecution. When you've been charged with a federal or state crime in New Mexico, you have an experienced and knowledgeable attorney to protect your rights aggressively throughout the entire criminal process. There are specific investigation procedures that must be followed in both the federal and state legal system. Often improprieties incurred during investigations, including violations of rules governing search and seizure or Miranda rights. These could become an unfair advantage of the prosecution unless you have a criminal defense attorney there to protect you by getting the evidence suppressed or even getting the charges dismissed. As a highly experienced, successful lawyer, Mrs. Johnson or Miss Johnson will make certain that you understand your legal rights and options completely, and she will provide a clear path for making informed decisions. Experienced defense. With over a decade of training as a federal and state prosecutor, followed by over a decade in criminal defense, civil rights, and personal injury law practice, Ms. Johnson has obtained an extensive and thorough understanding of federal, state, civil, and personal injury and procedure, law and procedure, as well as a profound respect and admiration for all of her clients. Ms. Johnson can communicate fluently with the Spanish-speaking community and can translate legal terminology accurately in a way that can be understood. So, with that said, she's got 10 years as a prosecutor, so it's not completely outlandish. But why was she hired to be the prosecutor of Alec Baldwin? I don't know. Where's my tinfoil hat? There's my tinfoil helmet. Should I put it on? I don't know. I've got this idea, and you can call it crazy. But, you've got a really important actor, somebody who I enjoy watch acting. I think he's good in Mission Impossible and Hunt for Red October. I wasn't a fan of 30 Rock, but I know many people are. He's holding the gun. Somebody's got to pay for this person who died on set. And as Drew said, we're going to go after a pound of flesh from the prop master. But how do we avoid going after someone who's a very important liberal? Where's my tinfoil hat? You could say liberal, but you could also say movie star. These people tend to avoid justice whenever it's coming from them. And so how do you do that? Well, if you're a first-year intro to criminal justice type person, and if you're a very, very successful very successful defense attorney, you might just know how to take someone to the brink of prosecution and make it look like you have done your due diligence, and then still not prosecute them, to take them to the point where they're legally covered. Right? We got Alec Baldwin to the point where he cannot be charged with these crimes again. Jeopardy attached. The trial began. Whoops! There was exculpatory evidence this whole time? I just read from this website from, Erlinda Ocampo Johnson saying she's an experienced prosecutor, but she's also really good at knowing how search and seizure and Miranda rights work. Brady was missing from her website, but she has, helped clients get millions of dollars. That's the person who's specially prosecuting Alec Baldwin. And I think that she might just know well enough, as I do. Even I could do this. Even I could pull this off. Get somebody to the point of prosecution. Make it so that we get to a certain point where we're in the game, and then we can throw the game. I don't want to speculate to say that maybe she was paid off for that. I would never accuse her based off of nothing. I don't want to accuse that. But as Drew said, they got their pound of flesh, and the other person who was clearly responsible for the crime, scot-free. He's not even going to be especially vulnerable to civil damages. If he had been convicted, or if he had, he might be, that could be used against him in a civil case. That's why sometimes people will plea nolo contendere, or no contest, because it's them saying, let's go straight to the penalty phase. I'm more or less admitting this, but I'm not saying I did anything. I'm just saying I don't want to do the trial. I want to go to the penalty phase. It's so that can't be used against him. An entry of nolo contendere or no contest can't be used in a civil case against you. But he pled not guilty, and now the case the case against him has essentially been thrown. Like the Black Sox throwing the World Series. That's how this man looks at it. You're free to disagree. I'm not here to convince you. But I see this as a pretty well orchestrated farce. And you know what? I know what you're saying, but John, it was the sheriff's office that didn't collect the evidence, right? Oh, what a good idea. Blaming the cops? Right? That never happens. The shit never rolls downhill. I've got my tinfoil hat on now. Yeah, it's not the prosecutor's job to make sure that all that evidence is done correctly. It's not the prosecutor's job to turn the evidence over to the defense. Like even if the cops had made a mistake, which happens in criminal investigations all the time. You know whose job it is to turn over exculpatory evidence? Or Linda or Campo Johnson's job. It was her job to do it. They had someone else fall on the sword, someone else get on the witness stand and say it was my fault. I had no intention of misleading the court. But Campo Johnson was the special prosecutor. So she's the one that's ultimately to blame. She is the special prosecutor chosen. And I just look at her resume and I wonder, it just seems strange to me. Maybe it's more normal, but it just sure seems strange to me. I'll get off of that. I've been already on the air now for 31 minutes. And we haven't even talked about like the bigger event on Saturday. Am I going to have to talk about that? I'll go to your chats to see if you guys actually want me to talk about that. Maybe you don't, because I don't know what else to add to that. The memes are out there doing a great job. You know, what else do I have to add? Let's see what they say. Let's see how much my fans hate me. I almost want to just stay in the, like, recycle through the first ones, because this is where everyone still likes me. In a few minutes, I'm going to get down to like, you son of a bitch. What's wrong with you? Drew's right and you're wrong. You're an idiot. You're stupid. Why would you say these things? How dare you have an opinion of your own? Wrong again, Jonathan. But this was done. This was done. Before I even get to that, can I just say, like, you are entitled to your own opinion just as Drew is to his, and just as I am to mine. Are we ever going to like convince each other? Isn't everything that's gone wrong in this country based on the idea that we're trying so hard to convince each other to get other people to agree with us? And it's just not going to happen. And yeah, there's no discourse anymore. We're not willing to talk openly about things. Hannah Payne, that case has shown us that we're not willing to keep an open mind about things. The fact that we've got people arguing with us in our chats on those videos about how wrong we got it, and we're not even done with it yet, by the way, just shows you that once somebody makes up their mind, they're really not open to that discourse anymore. But let's get to it. I'm ready to be excoriated, ready to be flagellated. Felony has been busy. She was out on dinner. Felony, I have told this to you many times. Do not go to dinner. Do not have a good time. You should be paying attention to me. Lawrence here. I think he likes all of our new emojis, including beignet. All right. Let's get it. Hello, brother mine. All the cool people are here. Tyler's here, our Canadian friend. Abby's here. Powerful. I wonder what she's specifically remarking as powerful. No idea. Maybe probably Drew. Yeah, that sounds about right based on the timing. I can believe that. That seems like a very dorky thing, Michael. Let's be clear. The law degree is a doctorate. You should be calling these folks doctor. That's true. I was subjected to watch a Saturday Night Live sketch with, there's a comedian, Nate Burnatz. Oh, I'm getting his name wrong. He's a really good comedian. I really like him a lot, actually. Just found out he existed this past weekend. But they're on an airplane, and this woman's having a baby, and she goes, I need a doctor. And this man stands up. She goes, oh, thank God you're here. He goes, I'm not a doctor. And he goes, well, then what are you doing? He goes, I'm a lawyer. And then I wanted to just be like, tell him you're a Juris Doctorate. But no, that wasn't even the joke. It was just like, if there's not a doctor here, a lawyer's the next best job. And then, someone else says, no, I think engineer is the next best job. And they're like, well, are you an engineer? And he goes, no, I'm a lawyer. I just think engineer's a better job. And then someone else is like, well, I'm a teacher. And I'm like, I think being a teacher is the most important job. And everyone just boos her. The skit was good, but it went on too long, just about as almost all SNL skits do. That's true. I would go Jonathan Bates Esquire. Actually, I would go Jonathan Podcaster Esquire. Is what I would do. Is my head too big? Probably. You can never really deny being egocentric or having an inflated sense of yourself, because then you risk doing it. So yeah, there's possible. I wanted to say, first of all, before everyone trashes me, I could have made this show members only this morning, and I didn't, because I wanted as many people to be here to share in this as possible. So consummate good guy is kind of the image I'm showing this morning. I don't look good today. I don't look good at all. Actually, all my good laundry is hanging outside in the sunshine, drying off from yesterday. I didn't bring it in last night. In my hat, I look like I just got off a fishing boat. I look terrible. So let me say welcome to everyone here, and then also apologies for looking this terrible. John, what if the prosecution hides evidence and then produces it during trial and yells surprise? Does that make it okay or just hilarious? It would make it hilarious, because the judge would be like, well, that wasn't in our discovery motions. And then the defense would say, objection, the prosecution is presenting facts that are not in evidence. And then you would have a mistrial and the case would be dismissed with prejudice. So that's kind of some degree of what has happened here. I couldn't tell, but it makes sense now. The fish tacos thing. Well, that's April's emoji, because of the time when she was driving home from a taqueria and a police officer forced her to slam on the brakes and her fish tacos went over the floor. The judge might think it was funny. You don't think judges have a sense of humor? They do. Michael, I believe that is allowed while also being hilarious. Two of the things could be true at once. Good point. Good point. Getting conflicted advice here. Michael, are you an attorney? You mow a lot of grass for someone who might be a prosecutor. I'm at work and I want to smoke outside and it's too fucking hot out. You know. By the way, I've got this video of Drew down here and it keeps making me think that Drew is dropping in. Double Jeopardy was when Trebek and Sean Connery would really get into it. That's not what your mother said last night, Trebek. Lots of SNL references today. I also liked Norm Macdonald on as Burt Reynolds. The penis mightier. I'll take a tit. $200. I'll take swords for $100. The penis mightier. He's sitting in a gold mine, Trebek. Where are we right now? And just write down any word that would indicate where we are indoors. I'm not sure what that meant. On being a police officer is here as well. Find out that's nice that she's here. I don't think she's ever been here for Monday Morning Show. Our attorneys are supposed to be able to write good. Thank you for telling me why a special prosecutor would be brought in. I would never guess. It's brought in to avoid conflicts of interest and also to help prosecute in special areas of expertise. Thank you. What's the conflict of interest? That's really more of what I was driving at. And wondering what that would be. And because it's easy to say there's a conflict of interest. Let's bring in a special prosecutor to throw the whole case. Do you not see how that works out from the beginning? I just want to know what that is. That's all. Because if it allows you to bring in someone who can especially prosecute the case, throw the entire thing, then it doesn't make the elected prosecutors look bad, right? These district attorneys, anyone that might be running for office, anyone that might have a win-loss record, they're out. Then they don't have to worry about it. Then they no longer have skin in the game, these elected officials. That's all I'm saying. This scenario has a tad of the plot of the movie Sleepers. Is that the one with Dan Aykroyd where they're trying to break into a thing and steal something? I think that's what you mean. That was a joke. That movie is called Sneakers. Latin. Mens rea. Luckily, New Mexico heat isn't as bad as Southern Arizona. I'm glad you guys are staying cool. I am not. It's hot as balls in here. Part of the thing that my intention for the day was to wake up at 8 a.m. hours ago and call the plumbing company. And I didn't do it. I slept through it. I don't know why my alarm's not going off. I honestly couldn't tell you, but this has happened before. I haven't had enough coffee for you today. This is for Laura, not for me. Case smells like Subway tuna. Yeah, I found out. I worked that dispatcher I was training over the past month that just quit on me. She's the one that sort of lifted the veil on Subway tuna. It's made of chicken. So what do you think about that? Right? Like, you're kind of glad that thing you just ate wasn't fish, because you were certain you needed to go to the hospital, but you're still being lied to. So far, people are not excoriating me. What happened Saturday? I am on my third beer. The show is my Friday night wind down. Well, I hope I can help you wind down. I don't mean to make you get all riled up by talking about the actual news. I want this show to be something else. I don't want it to be about the news. I'm not a big news guy. I think sometimes the news can't be ignored. I do think that knowing what's going on in the world is important, but I didn't move to the middle of fucking nowhere and cut out everyone from my life and ignore all media so that I would be forced to pay attention in this job. I when 2020 happened, this long ago, years ago, I stopped paying attention to the media. I stopped paying attention to politics because I had such a profound distaste for all of it. And that doesn't mean that my values changed. I became ever more conservative to the point where, when I talk about how much I love the Constitution and stuff, people say, well, you're one of those sovereign citizen guys. You're one of these fringe lunatic guys. But I just don't care. I don't want to be involved. So we're going to have to try to find some way to make Monday morning show something other than that. You know what would be fun? Playing games of some kind of Monday morning show with games. It's too bad that Kendra works during Monday mornings. Otherwise, I would just have her, I would invite her to be my regular Monday morning partner. Wouldn't that be a fun morning show, me and Kendra? Just doing whatever. It would be a lot of work, but she and I are used to podcasting together. But unfortunately, she has a regular 9 to 5, so people are being ugly. That's true. Carly and beignet, do you enjoy your beignet emoji? Why do you have an emoji when I said I would not do that? I'll tell you why. Because I unlocked a slot for it, and I didn't want to invent an emoji to go in that slot. I wanted to make sure I secured it, because if we lose memberships, we would lose that emoji slot unless you already have something plugged into it. So I went ahead and threw beignets in there, and I am ready to replace it at any time. Good morning, Abby. It's always nice to see you. Yes, thank God beignet got an emoji on 2 channels. Bergazzi, thank you. Yes, I think Nate Bergazzi is great. You know why? Because he's a clean comedian. He doesn't have to resort to being filthy, which, as you all know, is something that I generally try to shy away from. But he's also hilarious. And you know what's funny? I was watching I think it was his Netflix special. He reminds me of me so much. And you guys know how much I love me. I think that's the appeal of Nate Bergazzi, is that he reminds me of me. He's a little bit older than me, but he talks a lot about aging and things like that, and situations that he was in. In his Netflix comedy special, he was talking about one day where, he stays up late and he wakes up late because he's a comedian. I'm like, well, I do the same thing as a 911 dispatcher. And he was talking about one morning he wakes up and some people came over to the house to fix some stuff and he didn't know about it. I'm like, well, I'm the same way. I can't fix shit around here. Like the fact that it's 88 degrees in my office is evidence of that. And someone was there to refinish the door. And he has no idea what's going on. So it's like, it's morning. Someone's there. He doesn't know what to do. So he puts on a suit, answers the door. And they're like, well, we're here to refinish the door. And he goes, well, this half of the door is outside. So you just let me know when you're ready to have the other half. And they're like, well, we're going to take the door. And he's just like, I haven't even spoken yet. I just woke up. This exact same thing happened to me the other day, last week or the week before, where a police officer who was a former dispatcher was in my town and he wanted to come by and say hi. First of all, he texts me while I'm doing my morning business, which lasts about an hour. And so he's like, well, I'm in your driveway right now. And I'm like, fine, I'll come out and talk to you. I'm like, I haven't even spoken yet. I'd put on some clothes, but I'm like, I don't look appropriate. I was wearing gym clothes that I had retired years ago because they were no longer good enough to go to the gym. I'm like, well, now I have to put on more appropriate clothes and go outside and shoot the shit with this guy and be friendly for probably half an hour. And I was just like, I don't want to do this. And it was just so much about Nate Bargatze's routines. They make me sad because I'm like, I could have done what Nate Bargatze's doing if I had thought about the stuff that goes on in my life and thought I could make this into a comedy bit. I would do that. And I guess I do that a little bit because I do joke about my life here. One time, Eric referred to me as a comedian on the show. And, John, 911 dispatcher, podcaster, comedian. Do you guys think I'm a comedian? Can I put that on my resume at this point? Am I actually a comedian? Because like I do try to make you laugh for money. Is that the threshold of what being a comedian is? I would like to be a comedian. But maybe you have to actually like do stand-up or something. I don't know. Taqueria. I don't know. I'm just going to call it a taco place because you tried to correct me. I like your Sean Connery impression. I knew you would. There are things in here that don't react well to bullets. Your lack of faith is disturbing. I like the way April did it better. Taqueria. See, the way she explained it is better. And I trust her more, just out of spite. It was also on Jeopardy on SNL. Will Ferrell was shocked that he got it right. It's 97, but at least it's not 114. Yeah, 97 is less than what I'm putting that on there. Just to be a jerk. I was a sandwich artist for years. You worked at Subway? I didn't know that. April, I have no doubt that the sandwich at Subway used to be tuna. The person who I just hired or was just hired and then just quit being a dispatcher was working at Subway like a month ago. Maybe a little longer ago. She had some experience working as a police officer at university, but she's been working at Subway in modern times. And it is not tuna. And believe me, all I can tell you is that I did go into it in a little bit of an investigation about this, and it's chicken of the sea. That's some nice lawyering right there. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just a small town country lawyer, but where I come from, chicken is the tuna of the sea. The jury murmurs. Oh. Is Monday a common thing? Yes, I've been doing Monday morning shows for the past 2 or 3 months. Every Monday. And yet some of you did not know about it. Carly did not know about it. Abby did not know about it. And I do mention that I do a Monday morning live show on the Thursday night show and the Thursday night live show. This is not a secret. It's the most public thing there could possibly be. What do I normally do? I normally jump on here, respond to comments, first of all. Normally it doesn't take me this long to catch up. And then I'll read some news. I normally read about dispatch in the news. I don't normally read about Alec Baldwin. I don't normally get into like presidential assassinations or things like that. I try to read about 911. The reason for that is that on Thursday nights when it's me and Drew, we haven't been covering so much of the little news tidbits and discussing because we were trying to finish Hannah Payne. So I'm like, well, if you want to know what is going on with this one, Vancouver getting, next gen 911 or whatever, that's when that would be talked about. And then I share memes. And my meme source has disappeared. They have to go undercover. They have to go underground sometimes. So what I've done for you this week is that I dove into my own personal meme file. And what was hilarious is that I have a meme file, rather expansive meme file. And one of the memes that I found yesterday in my deep meme file from years and years and years and years ago was a meme of a German Shepherd putting their paw on a Bible. And it says, "You're going to jail, Greg," because the dog's being sworn in to testify. My sister sent me this meme like yesterday saying, haha, look at this meme. I'm like, I've had that meme in my meme folder since probably 2015. It's like one of the oldest memes. And I almost put it up today, but I didn't want her to make her feel like she was contributing. I don't get notifications. Well, make sure you hit subscribe. That will make sure you get notifications. And if you wanted to become a member, you could do that. I don't get notifications, so I didn't know about Mondays. But thank you for the emoji, since it's only there, since you didn't have to do more work. Well, I'm going to do more work. I'll replace it at some point. This is the only channel that matters that has an emoji. Thank you for saying that. That was nice of you. What does the box of cigarettes say on the emoji? Felony? I'm going to tell you what it says. It says Morley's, Morleys. I want you to look that up. Morley's cigarettes. Actually, I think I said that on Thursday night, but you weren't here. I find Nate Bargatze to be hilarious. My wife and I went to see him in Columbus, and I purchased a large, annoyingly expensive can of beer, proceeded to drop it on the guy in front of me. Well, that's not good. That's not like a happy story. Coffee with John on Monday. I know, I'm not even drinking coffee. Like, my can, first of all, I wish I could show this to you, is sweating. My hand is wet with condensation because of how hot and humid it is in here. I've got to call those guys. I have to end the show just so I can go call them. I mean, it's ridiculous that, like, there's so much water down here that it's condensing on a can of cold beverage. I honestly wish I could show that to you, because, like, I'm sopping wet. There's water on my shirt, and it's just from something having the audacity to be cold in this room. It's hot. I wonder how hot exactly it is in here. April, John loves us. I do love some of you. So this is a big pet peeve of mine. This has come up a couple times recently. And years ago, I used to be a grammar Nazi, a real grammar Nazi. I used to really harp on people because it made me feel good about myself, because I viewed myself as a correctional officer, and I viewed correcting people's grammar to sort of be in the purview of that, or in the domain of being a correctional officer. But then I started reading really good literature, and I realized that the best break all the rules. I think it's important that you know the rules, like you should know how to spell, and you should know how to use good grammar and mechanics and all that. But I think once you achieve a certain level of proficiency, you can throw all those chains down and do whatever the fuck you want to do, particularly if it's if you want your form to fit your narrative, or your form to fit your function. Writing a book, you can convey so much about the if it's written in the first person, based off of how, you can sort of embody their character. And so I've written many works with a lot of terrible grammar in it, and a lot of misspellings, and it's intentional. However, what I really don't like, something that really sticks in my craw, and you didn't do this intentional, Lauren, because you're just an all-around good guy, and I owe you like a whole thing of beer. But aisle seat, I-S-L-E. The isle, spelled I-S-L-E, is like an island, like Emerald Isle, like crashed and marooned on the aisle. If you mean aisle, like the aisle in the movie theater, the aisle in a grocery store, or the aisle in an airplane, it's spelled A-I-S-L-E. And I know what you're thinking. John, you son of a bitch. How dare you? Here's the thing. I'll take a picture of this later today just so you understand. When I'm at my own grocery store, which is a small town grocery store that like sells gas, and like there's one person running one register, and they're the manager and the owner. There's an aisle, and it's called the value aisle, and it's full of expired food, and I love it because I'm ready to eat expired food. I don't care. I'm a piece of shit. I'm correcting people that give me money on their spelling. I don't deserve food that hasn't been expired. But on the sign that hangs above the aisle, it says value aisle. And I think it's written in Sharpie, and it's spelled I-S-L-E. And it's like, you run a grocery store and you don't know how to spell aisle. Lauren, you're excused. You don't need me to harp on you about shit. But they're definitely not off the hook. I'm so damn hot. I think we all love John based on the memberships and presence of his adoring fans. Some of you love me Maybe one or two of you love me. But a lot of you just really like me. Or if you're really bored, I could see that too. Yes, John, comedian fits. It's the dry wit. Well, I don't think you actually have to be funny to be a comedian is the thing. Because there's a lot of comedians who aren't funny. Kevin James isn't funny. I don't know. Yeah, I know. Sorry. My oldest was a baby when I last worked there, so 12 or 13 years ago was my last sub masterpiece. April, did I ever tell you about how I worked at Herbert's and Gerbert's for 3 days? I worked there for 9 hours before I washed out. Maybe you've heard that story. You've heard a lot of my stories, but I went to work at a sandwich shop because I had been working at Volunteers of America as my part-time job. I was working with adults with disabilities, and a very easy job. Not much was expected of me. But I kind of wanted a break from that because I found it very boring, and I didn't like that they wanted me to be there from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. I wanted to be like, well, can my part-time job be part-time hours? Because it's very tough on me to go to work at 7 in the morning, be there till 3, then drive to my 911 job and be there from 4 to midnight. I did that for years, and it almost killed me. I lost a lot of weight, and I made some money. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get a second part-time job, and then I'm gonna cut back my hours at VOA, just to try something else, to do something else, and to work fewer hours. Like, I don't want to have to choose between going to work at VOA and working the entire day, or just not working at all that day, not bringing home anything. So I said, you know what I ought to do? I'm gonna deliver sandwiches at lunchtime. I'm gonna go be a delivery driver for Herbert's and Gerbert's, the sandwich place, which was like, Jimmy John's. Jimmy and John founded that place. Well, at some point, Jimmy and John got divorced, and John went off on his own and set up Herbert's and Gerbert's. I don't know if you guys knew the origin of Herbert's and Gerbert's, but anyway, I was to be a delivery driver. Well, for whatever reason, not a lot of people wanted sandwiches delivered. I didn't hardly do any of these, and so I'm going to be there. For whatever reason, I have to be on the clock. I would prefer to just get paid per delivery, which is why I ended up switching to food dudes later. But so if I'm going to be on the clock, they want me to do stuff, which is fine. So I would wash dishes, which I love doing. You know why? Because I'm in the back. I don't have to talk to anybody. There's constantly dishes that need to be washed. I would wash the ever-loving fuck out of them. Make sure that your restaurant is clean. Make sure that your sandwiches are being made in a place that I would want to eat sandwiches in. Very ethical and responsible kitchen making. It was a very clean kitchen, by the way. That particular Herbert's and Gerbert's, you could rest assured that the food that you were getting was very well stored, very well kept. There were no problems. It was not. There weren't any secrets. It was a very good place to eat. But at one point they're like, hey, there's a customer out front. Why don't you go make him a sandwich? I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I haven't been trained to make a sandwich. And they're just like, because I thought you needed to know anything to make a sandwich at a restaurant. I don't know. I guess when I watch all these sandwich artists, they seem to just be so proficient in their movements. They seem to know what they're doing. I don't have any of that. And they're just like, well, you just look at the thing and see what's on it. And like, I guess. I feel like I can't make a sandwich. That's how bad I am at this. So I go out there and I make the sandwich, and I can't even ring it up because I haven't been taught how to use the point of sale. And I make the sandwich, and I give it to him. And then the manager sees this, and I'm like, I didn't want to do this. Why am I being chewed out for it when I said I didn't want to? It didn't go well for them. Didn't go well for me. Didn't go well for you. Have you learned your lesson not to put me on sandwich making? And she goes, you barely gave them avocado on that. They had almost no avocado. And I'm like, do you know the margin on avocado? Do you really think you can afford to keep me around and put as much avocado as you want on these people's sandwiches? Anyway, I washed out of that job because I wasn't good at it. And then new ownership came in, and they said, if you're going to work here, you probably should have a beard net on. I said, I'm not going to go to work if I have to wear something covering my face. That'll never happen. And then there was like a loud boom of thunder. There's my sandwich working at a sandwich place story, which I told for no reason. Probably a spicy Italian, and that is my favorite. I probably made my own sandwich on my way out. What's your favorite bread, April? I didn't know that you liked subs at all. I didn't know that you liked the spicy Italian. I feel angry and sad that I'm only just now learning this about you. You do contribute. That's the thing. You know what you contribute the most that you don't appreciate? You add a dynamic of the show of sibling rivalry and sibling bullying. that I hope somebody appreciates, because I know you don't. So if they don't appreciate it, nobody's appreciating it. Like the meatball subs. My favorite was always my April. I'm going to show you that I did do thorough Subway investigations, because my favorite sandwich happens to be the one that's your least favorite to make. I want you to go ahead and put in the chats the one that's your least favorite to make, because I know that you have one that's your least favorite to make. I know that it's this one, and my favorite sandwich at Subway was the one that you hated to make the most. I'm sorry, John. My grammar is worse than the emails. Sorry, but my math is my friend, not English. And I'm bad at math, so that just goes to show you probably have a better and higher paying job than I do. Knowing English just makes you a chump. If you can know math, then you're good. I don't know what this means. Good morning, Will. We've got math people in here. What the hell? Great. One thing we cannot accept grammatically is between you and I. Police officers are always saying myself instead of saying I. They'll say the other police officer and myself are out at the 7-Eleven. Just say I. I'm there. He and I are there. He and I am there, or whatever. Point is that they always say myself. It drives me nuts, because they want to sound grammatically correct, but they have no idea how to do it. And there's a whole chapter on when to use me, myself, and I that gets taught to all of us. And somehow anyone who becomes a police officer has that erased from their brain from childhood. I have to write for a living. There you go. Although I like how you didn't capitalize the letter I. I type very quickly and don't proofread on here, so I'm sure I come across as an imbecile. No, you're doing okay. And people are allowed to make mistakes. I don't care. People make mistakes. It's really not a big deal to make a mistake. Actually, this is going to make you very upset. I did not have to wear a mask. At VOA, they made me wear one, but I was always like, well, I'm just going to not, because like during that year when they were forcing us to do that, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to work these shifts. Like, because it wasn't my full-time job, I really wasn't made to do it. I like assented to doing it. Like, if I'm going to go to work today at VOA, I'm going to have to wear a mask, but my full-time job, I didn't have to wear one. And weeks and weeks and weeks would go by and I would not have one on. And that was really good for me. My request to be excused from jury duty was denied. Why would you request to be excused from it? That's your duty. People always want their rights, but they don't ever want their responsibilities. Never mind the fact that I refused to sign up to vote in the county I now live in so that I don't have to be a juror. I have at least forfeited my rights so that I don't have to do my responsibilities. Like how I'm chewing you out. Like I never want to do jury duty ever again. The thing is that my county is so small and I have such poor luck that I just know that I would be asked to be on a jury here. And you know what sucks is that, so get a load of this. I have always dispatched for the county I live in, but I didn't used to live here. If a case went bad or it was prosecuted in the case that in the county I now live, I would have to come to this county to be a juror, or not to be a juror, excuse me, to testify right? If I get called as a witness, as a 911 dispatcher or whatever. So I would have to leave the county I lived in and come to this county to testify. Well, now I have moved to this county. And now, if I have to testify about an issue in this county, because I still dispatch here, now I have to go to a third county because our courthouse was like condemned. So now I have to go I still have to leave the county to testify about any matter in this county. Now I have to go to this third county. So I moved closer to court and court moved away from me, you know? It just makes you wonder. I have to write reports for leak investigations. I hate them. Leaks of what kinds? Water leaks? Spicy Italian and white with provolone, lettuce, tomato, black olives, vinegar, and a bit of mayo. Chef's kiss. I feel like I should write that down. I'm going to try to remember it. Spicy Italian and white. Provolone, lettuce, tomato, black olives, vinegar, a little bit of mayo. Yeah, that does sound damn good. You know, there's a Subway that's on my way to work. I actually passed by 2 of them, but I'm fasting now. I'm on a fast. So I won't be eating that today. I'm trying to lose weight. Since I became a podcaster, I've stopped going to the gym for like 2 hours a day, every day. And it shows that. And I tend to graze a lot more. I'm eating late at night, which is bad. So I'm going to try to lose some weight. And I am exercising, but I'm also going to do some fasting. So right now I've been fasting for over 24. No. How many hours has it been? Like 12 hours. So I'm on a pretty good fast right now, but I hated making tuna, meatball, and teriyaki chicken. Did you hate making the cold cut trio, April? Because that was my favorite. It was the cold cut trio. A woman who speaks English as a second language taught me how to speak, and I will never speak around you again because I know I do it wrong. April, you have impeccable grammar. One of the things I like about you is how well you speak. You're good. Turkey on a honey oat with provolone, all veggies, salt and pepper, oil and vinegar. That's not as bad. Turkey. Christy, have you ever been to a Potbelly? They have a sandwich there called the Wreck. That's probably my favorite. I get it with the hot peppers. I also really like almost anything from Jimmy John's, and for some reason, people hate that about me. Like one time I used to for a couple summers ago, I was really on this Jimmy John's kick. It was really bad for me, but I was eating Jimmy John's like a couple times a week because I just really love Jimmy John's. And people were just coming after me, saying that Jimmy John's is trash, saying that Subway is the only true sub restaurant. Put a 1 in the chats if you believe that Subway is superior. Put a 2 in the chats if you believe Jimmy John's is superior. And just bear in mind that they are now owned by the same company anyway. So, because they put up to a 4-month time frame during which I could be called and homeschooled my children. Is that an undue burden for you? Here's the thing. It's an undue burden for everybody. Everybody's got a life, Christy. Everybody's got something going on. There's not responsible, hardworking citizens just lying around being ready to be called to jury duty. If I'm someone who's facing criminal prosecution, I want people like you. I want people that are homeschooling their children. I want people that are invested in their children and their own lives. I want people that have jobs. I want people that are high functioning. I don't want people whose schedules are free. I don't want people who have plenty of free time. I want busy, hardworking people. Those are the people that are going to make better decisions, I think. I agree. This sandwich talk is making me hungry. Yeah, I'm hungry. Yeah, roof leaks. The other day, it was so wet in my basement. I had water on the floor, and I'm like, "Oh my god, how can the roof be leaking from the ceiling in the basement? You know, like this house is just going to kill me." And it's just because the cold water pipes. There's condensation on all the cold water pipes. There's so much water down here because it's so humid. That's why I'm grouchy. It could be. Have you ever seen me in the morning where I'm not grouchy? I am the wife of Tyler. I am the wife, Tyler. Oh, I thought we were like, oh my God, I had no idea you guys were married. This changes everything. Guess I better go make my own loud sigh. Somebody make Foxy a sandwich. Potbelly wreck with hot peppers is phenomenal. Thank you, Michael. Let's talk about the messages you left on my Instagram. What was that, John? What were the messages you left on my Instagram on July 4th? What was that? You drunk dialing me and saying how much you care about me and how much you don't want me to get discouraged because of everything that I contribute to every podcast that I work on and how much I matter to you and how much you worry about me. This is the shit that I'm hearing when you're drunk dialing. You know, what about you? Just goes to show you that like you're the sweetest person on earth. That when you get drunk, you're just like, I really worry about you, John. And I don't want you to quit. You're so sweet. I think it may be time to start a challenge in the fitness Facebook group we have. I'm not a part of that group. You know why? Because I have an internal locus of control and I'm intrinsically motivated. I don't need to show off. I don't need anyone to be a part of my fitness journey. In fact, those things would subtract from my fitness journey. I'm not doing this for other people. I'm doing this for me. And if I tried to do it for another person, I would fail, regardless of my success. But I want you to have your Facebook group. I always seem like I'm dogging on Will, don't I? I love you, Will. Good morning. Now, I forgot the numbers. 1 is Subway is superior. 2 is if Jimmy John's is superior, right? Even April says Jimmy John's is superior. I find that very curious. Yeah, you need to find Potbelly. Potbelly, for some reason, is suspiciously good. It's also a great place where you can get Zapp's chips. I was gonna just pull up all the ads for Zapp's chips on here, but that's on a different network, so I don't have access to those assets here. Subways are nice because they are franchised in the same communities as Dollar General. They live around those communities. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I don't think about such things, but that's nice. Jersey Mike's is the best. I'm going to tell you, Jersey Mike's is fucking bullshit. Jersey Mike's is trash. I've been to Jersey Mike's twice. I thought that they were garbage both times. The way that they chop up meat makes it absolutely gross. I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was disgusting. And I tried it twice because I'm like, well, I got one of their specialty ones. And I'm like, well, I didn't like this particular sandwich. And then I went back and then I just got a basic sandwich. And then I had them just like, this is disgusting. I think Jersey Mike's is trash. Absolute trash. Don't like it. And I love all sandwiches. So I could talk about sandwiches all day. I'm actually thinking about making this into a sandwich podcast because I think somehow that might fill a niche that could really make us move forward. Sandwiches on Monday. But Jersey Mike's just doesn't make the cut. My husband would have to take off from his job at a different courthouse to stay with my kids. Other people have children too. Some parents are single parents. And what then? No. You're special. You're excused. You're excused from your civic duties. Like how I'm dogging on my sister too. What is this show? I have sandwiches and then I criticize people. Why are you all here? I would never watch this show. What's Jimmy John's? He's not being ironic. He's just in Canada. It's a sandwich place. It's really good. They use a fresh baked bread, big white loaves, lots of mayonnaise. I think their secret is mayonnaise. But they're known for being freaky fast. You can go into Jimmy John's and you can ask for a sandwich, and then it will be given to you in about 30 seconds because they actually have their assembly line process very well managed. They don't have one person making you the sandwich and going down the line, and then sometimes they have sandwich artists. You walk up and say, "I want this," and then they walk the sandwich down to the register and ring you up. Jimmy John's, one person does cheese, one person does tomato, one person does this, and then like you say, you tell them what you want, and then they put it on there. It's much faster. I like a turkey with sun-dried tomato and smoked Gouda. This is how we can tell you live in California. But that's an excellent sandwich. I prefer my own sandwiches. You know how to make it just the way you like it. The other day, I posted a thing on my Instagram about sandwiches. And so it had, PB&J and club sandwich and 2 other sandwiches, and it said, one of these has to go or whatever. And I wrote on there on the text, and like, DM me, the answer to the question, and I will be judging you. And every single person that came to me and explained why their sandwich was their favorite sandwich, I just completely agreed with them and told them they were right. And just there was dispatcher shenanigans, and was actually texting me was messaging me for like 30 minutes about peanut butter and jelly. It was hilarious. I wish I could share those conversations with people, but then it's like, well, you're just exploiting, your friendship with another human being. But it was pretty funny. John, at least she's not sending you a "you up" message. Well, I would be up, but I don't even know what that means. Well, those are the same communities as pawn shop and liquor stores everywhere. Yes, Tyler destroyed you. He's like, you're trying to say like, well, I want to invest in my community. Tyler's like, have you seen your communities? I think I'm almost caught up with everyone. He makes a good point. I think I know Michael Hendricks' community. You've got a Dollar General. You've got a Subway. You may have a Taco John's. You have a Casey's. You may have a Pizza Ranch. But you have no other restaurants. You have a post office. You have a florist, a dental clinic, a chiropractor, a VFW, another random bar, and that is all you have. There's nothing else there. I might have just described the town that I live in or the town that I work in. Taco John's means you're special if you have Taco John's. And if you don't have a Taco John's, what you have instead is a Dairy Queen. Firehouse Subs is good. They don't let you steal the patches off the wall, so I'm currently banned from Firehouse Subs for stealing their patches. I mean, where do you think all these came from? Anyway, now everyone wants to feel wanted in the moment. You guys, me at 2 p.m. sending you up messages because I work at night. Hey man, you up right now? Yes, I'm at work. Eating Mondays with John from Com Center, where John tries new restaurants. How would I do that out here in the middle of nowhere? How would I try these restaurants? I mean, it's a great idea. I actually think it's a fantastic idea. If I still lived in the town that I lived in last year, that's actually what I would be doing. I'm like, guess what, guys? Like today, I'm going to be trying, this Euros place, or I'm going to be trying this specific Chinese restaurant. It's identical to most other Chinese restaurants. Or like, what's a place that I would want to try that I haven't tried? Trying to think of what if I was going to do it today, what's a place I could actually try? And I assume that you would want it to be chains and not local so that you could try it too. Slim Chickens is a place that I've never been. I don't know if you've ever heard of Slim Chickens, but that would be like an example. Or Raising Cane's Chicken. I don't think we have that here, but I've seen it around. Have you even talked about the news? I did today a little bit. On previous episodes, I have spoken about the news some. If you're asking if I talked about the news so far, like with President Trump, no, I haven't. Do you guys want to talk about that? I don't know. Tyler, I'm out in the country and quickly becoming more like John Dutton with each passing day. I adore progress and don't want hippies from California moving to my area. No offense, Britt. You sound like you're becoming like me. And that's a terminal condition, my friend. You do not get better. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you for buying my next sub, whenever that will be. I've got to trim down. I've got to lose some weight, and I love sandwiches, and the bread's very bad for me. But I'm not eating much of anything. I'm having a little bit of food, so I'm not. I am going long stretches where I'm not eating, but I'm not abstaining from all food. I'm just seriously cutting calories, and I have set up my next batch of factor meals to be calorie conscious to help me manage that a little bit better. Just because I'm very bad. I love to eat, guys. I love it. This past weekend, I made a seafood boil and I had Chick-fil-A. Like, you want to know why I have to lose weight? It's because of things like that. Pizza Ranch. Have you ever been, Christy? I wonder. Pizza Ranch is one of those things that I actually really like. I don't know if it's just because I've never had a bad experience at a Pizza Ranch or because like I've always been there with people I've cared about. Except one time, I saw the deputy warden of the prison I worked at there, and I was everything I could do to not spill my fountain soda on her, because she's a disgusting person, and I want a bad life for her. But anyway, cactus bread. If you don't know what that is, you're barely alive if you've never had cactus bread before. I'm guessing that all the people who know me and are watching this nearby me to know what a Pizza Ranch is will tell me that Pizza Ranch is trash and that Pizza Ranch is for kids, and the cactus bread is trash. But you're wrong. I don't know what to tell you. This is a grocery store that is not near me. That's a regional thing to Minnesota. Will, I've never seen one of those around here. As you travel west, they turn into Hy-Vees at a certain point. Actually, I think the first Hy-Vee that's near you is actually only in, it's on Marshall Road, so that would put it in Shakopee, I think. There's a Hy-Vee right there in Shakopee. So if you get as far southwest as Shakopee, Will, you're actually leaving Coburn's territory and festival. I've never seen a festival around here either. I wish I was capable of using the emojis from StreamYard. Otherwise, I would do that right now. We have a couple of private-owned little restaurants, a DG. I don't know what that is. Dollar General. Okay. Subway, McDonald's. Okay, so you're probably located near the interstate. And a small doctor's office that is affiliated with a hospital. No real bars. No other restaurants unless pizza. Okay. You live maybe a far west version of what I do. I would love to go to Idaho or Montana or California or all these other places out west that have these different places, or even to the southwest where my sister lives, and try these things and do them on the podcast. That would be fun. I wish I could. That would be my ideal podcast, would just be me traveling around and then jumping on and saying, "Hey, I'm in Taos today and I'm having Subway at Taos." I'm in the most New Mexican city there is, and I'm here having Subway. Michael says, my country has a 60,000 county has 60,000 people. Well, your county is 10 times as big as mine. That's why you have a McDonald's. My nearest towns, villages are about 900 and 1,400. 25-minute drive from a bigger city with 15 to 20,000 people. Yeah, I'm farther away and fewer people. So, Michael, you're actually in a pretty populated area compared to me, which explains why you have so much. They put a Raising Cane's next to our Chick-fil-A. In the town that I just left, Christy, there's actually a weird ordinance that says you can't have two restaurants that are of the same genre or category next to each other. Like, there was this big fight in my town about, I'm trying to remember if it was two Italian places or two barbecue places. But basically, if you open up a barbecue place on this corner and it's in the strip mall, no one else can have a barbecue place there. It's like some sort of anti-competition thing. And it's very big government, very liberal. I don't like it. I feel like the two places should be next to each other and they should drive prices down, and then one of them should go out of business. Or, both just continue to go on with very low prices and, their adherence. Food is an addiction I can't quit. Yeah, you're always eating. I went to Pizza Ranch in Iowa. When were you in Iowa? When the hell was that? You went to Iowa and you didn't tell me? It's probably recently, knowing you. You just didn't want to see me. You're actually not the only sister who's ever done that. Our older sister also one time I was in a small town in Iowa. I was actually already there, and she came up from New Mexico, and I found out she was in the same small town in Iowa that I was in, and I texted her, "Do you want to see me? I'm your brother. We're in the same small town right now." And she did not even answer me. I texted my brother-in-law because, like, I get why she doesn't like me. She's my sister. I texted my brother-in-law, her husband. He didn't text me back either. All you guys who love me, who show up to watch this show, you got to remember that there's people in my life who should love me and don't. You know, what do they know that you don't? There are a few, within a few hours of here. Oh, I think what you mean is Raising Cane's. Yeah, that's how I know about it. April and I are in the same place. I don't think that that's shocking to anyone. I like Raising Cane's. I think it's headquartered not too far from where I live, so they're very common here. Nearest Chick-fil-A is an hour drive. Yeah. Yeah. Cub Foods, yep. I'll take you to Pizza Barn. My sister officially invited me to Pizza Barn this past weekend. She wants me to come see her. You know, I have so much vacation time that I think I mentioned this on the show that I started putting in all my vacation time, and I put in for a lot of it because I need to be excused from my job because I'm burning out. And I have this nice spreadsheet tracker that's set up like a calendar, but what it has is columns and rows that show my accrual of vacation time per pay period. It's a very cool spreadsheet I made. And every time, I put in that I'm taking 8 hours on this day, 8 hours on this day, it subtracts from my overall balance in total. So I started out with like 212 vacation hours, and then I put in every day I want off for all the Cowboys games, every day I want off for going to Florida, every day I want off for Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever else, my birthday, all these other days that I'm taking off. And I looked at my final balance, and it was the same number of vacation hours that I have today. Like the number of vacation hours that I've set myself up for the rest of the year, just account for the rest of the vacation I'm going to accrue for the year. So with that in mind, Christy, if I'm going to Florida to see Drew and Kendra, I probably have got to go down to New Mexico to see you. How is it that I'm going to see my fellow podcasters, but not my own sister? So maybe we could set that up for I don't want to be there in October for the balloon fiesta. That would be a miserable disaster. I was going to say I don't want to be down there when it's cold, but it's just going to be cold here anyway. Sometime before the year's out, particularly if I can get good prices on a ticket, or maybe even drive. It would be a hell of a drive, though. You're very far away. Turkey pesto is also fire. Years and years ago, I was a teen. I think you were there. I have no memories of that at all. That same small town that I mentioned also has a Pizza Hut. It's the last fully functional Pizza Hut from the 80s that runs just like the Pizza Huts we all love. They still have that there. Chick-fil-A has a food truck that comes to the city near me every month or two, and there will be a line. They one time in the city I live, there's a Chick-fil-A, and they set up a second Chick-fil-A food truck, like at a festival or something. We never get as cold as you do, so yeah. All right, guys, I'm getting hungry, and I need to find a way to ignore that rather than talking about food. So let's get you caught up to speed on just memes and what's going on with the show before we leave. Let some of you go to sleep. Let me call the plumber because I was supposed to do that 4 hours ago. I'm currently waiting on YouTube to get back to me because I have uploaded the first exclusive content. In fact, I made this great drawing of me that's even more badass than the normal drawing. With Andy Kubert style cigarette smoke flame. That will appear on just members only content. Whenever you see this, you know that it's members only. So some of you have seen that, and you shouldn't have. You shouldn't. Those of you who are watching right now who are not members should never have seen that. But I wanted to get that going. What are we waiting for it to drop? Because it's already been uploaded. Basically, it's got a lot of copyrighted material in it, and we don't have experience working with YouTube in terms of a lot of copyrighted material. So I had to write a rationale to them explaining why what I'm doing is not copyright infringement, why it's fair use. And the owners of the copyrighted material have 30 days to review it and to say whether it's okay or not okay. And if they say it's not okay, I can appeal the decision. But then I put our channel in a little bit of danger. Like if I lose the appeal, I'll get a copyright strike against us, which could affect our monetization and stuff. And frankly, I'm not willing to affect my stakeholders, meaning Dewey and Drew, on this particular video. So I would just have to find a way to get new exclusive content of some other kind. Basically, who are the copyright owners? It's Netflix. So I need Netflix to sign off on that. I edited the shit out of it. I provided lots of commentary. I think it's pretty good. But as soon as they give me the okay, I'm going to schedule that, and you will get that as a member. So that's something that's coming up for you. Also, all of our Hannah Payne stuff. I just wanted to drop this just so you know to look for it. Most of you have been pretty good about keeping up with that, but that's going to be a separate podcast. Here's the cover art that I did for that. I made it last night. I feel pretty good about that piece of artwork. And so that'll be a separate podcast at some point, just to let you know that that's out there. In case you ever wanted to just sit down and watch all the Hannah Payne, listen to all the Hannah Payne stuff as an audio podcast, and not and it has all the excess junk cut out of it. There you go. There's also, of course, the Death by Suitcase Sarah Boone thing, which we'll be coming back to soon because we're going to that. All right, meme time. I like this meme because it's clearly done by an artiste, such as myself. It says, "Why do I have to have a medical degree? Just sleep for an hour. World's greatest doctor. Why do I even have a medical degree? Napping is recommended by medical treatment by 10 out of 10 doctors. That's correct. Broken bones, bullet wounds, poison. Take a nap." We are equal, aren't we? Aren't the sexes equal? If I need to be treated like a prince by my princess, you know. Whoa, coming in here hot with graffiti. Continental breakfast is not real breakfast. That's right. It is not. Only a real English breakfast is real breakfast. I know what you're thinking. What the hell's a continental breakfast? What's an English breakfast? Well, English breakfast is everything that you get at Denny's. Hash browns, eggs, bacon, beans, if you're English, sausages, pancakes, toast, waffles, everything that's hot. A continental breakfast is everything you get at a hotel. Cereal, fruit, cold breakfast, right? Continental breakfast is not real breakfast. They call it English breakfast because England's an island and the rest of the food is what you get on the continent, hence continental breakfast. Now that I've added the milk to the cereal, tell me, is that milk now a beverage, a broth, or a sauce? Answer carefully, Mr. Johnson. Your wife's life depends on it. I've had this meme for a long, long time, and I have loved looking at it every time. Ethan, do you think I'm a bad mother? My name is Jake. Cons, they only want to talk to you about the bees. I can totally relate to this. People only want to talk to me about the bees. Every single day, somebody sends me a message or a meme or a reel or something that's about bees now. I never knew that when I made that rant about the war on the bees, that would somehow like be my thing. Even Eric was like talking about how much that made him laugh. And I'm just like, it's just, I don't know. I don't know how I've become the bee guy. Oh, I did. It is here. Damn it. I wish I'd shown this. I ruined this meme. I'm sorry, everyone. When you forget to set the alarm, but you still wake up at the right time. The laws of time are mine. This is me this morning. Oh. By order of the Detroit Police Department, no selling drugs at this corner. I wonder if a private citizen put that out, though. You know, like they probably got sick of it, constantly calling the cops. They're selling drugs out on this corner. Of course, Detroit PD is like, well, I don't know why you think that we can police crime. This is Detroit, and we're Detroit PD, and we are a utopia of generations of far left-leaning government, and we are the product of everything that the promises of liberals can give you, which is why we can't stop crime. And they probably got sick of dealing with this one person who called every single fucking time there was someone out there doing a drug deal. And they're like, just put a sign out, dude. Do you care if I say it's by order of Detroit PD? Whatever, man. And then if this helped at all, good for him. The photojournalist dilemma: save your girlfriend's pasta or get the shot of a lifetime. You could do both. You can actually just order her another plate of pasta or give her your food, I guess. But this is a pretty good one. Cats are so aggressive when it comes to food. I shit you not. Like my cat Fox, he's a bit of a lover. He's a bit of a sweet guy, you know. And one time I'm eating a steak and he comes up and jumps on my lap. This is not uncommon for him. I have since stopped him from doing it. But I'm eating my steak and he's just sitting on my lap and I'm like, whatever, I'm going to be cool with you. And then, between bites, he literally like leans up and starts eating the steak while he's sitting on my lap. Like, you son of a bitch. I don't know why you thought that you could just sit on my lap and eat my steak. Oh, get out of here, cat. Threw him to the floor. And now whenever I'm eating and he comes up to the table, I shoo him away. People who call instead of text. Yeah, I mean, I like it when certain people call me, but there's people who are calling me, and I'm like, oh my god, this ruins my day. Don't call me. And there's some people who just refuse to text, though. It's so weird. I don't recall my mom ever telling me I had to share. Say what you will about my mother. She was not a communist. How did this happen? Like, why is this in a magazine of someone eating a taco vertically? What are they doing? This is how you could recognize someone as an alien. Like if you were in a restaurant and you saw someone doing this, you're like, that person's not a human being. And you could just do like in Men in Black, like the movie Men in Black, like where you see something that's just slightly off. You could just take them out, you know. Like there's a scene where Jay is getting recruited and he's on the gun range and he sees all these monsters and he ignores all the monsters, but he shoots the little girl with a quantum physics book. He's just like, look at the neighborhood we're in. In the middle of the night, we got this young white girl. She's got a book that's way too advanced for her. There's some shit going on right there. I'd appreciate it if he eased up off my back about it. Or do I owe her an apology? Somebody turned 3 today. I am 21. I'm sorry. I just love this because it's adorable. I love his ID. It says I'm 21 on it. Oh, I love this one. So good. It's so wholesome. Emergency telephone only. 911 can be dialed. Because they covered it up. 911. I'm sure at some point it had been one of those 911 only phones, but it got damaged or something. Got to limber up. I'm going to be doing some running. Have some coffee while you're there too. That'll give you the energy for your escape. Just don't pay with credit card. Have you tried eating the couch? Florida man kidnaps scientist to make his dog immortal. There's something about his beard that's just it is his very serious look on his face that makes me look like this is like the ultimate like philosophical Florida man I've ever seen. How dogs see road trips. A lot of dog memes today. I'm a big fan of dog memes. Yeah, if you think about it, your dog like has an idea of its neighborhood, where it lives, its house, its block, maybe. But like getting into a car and going to like another town, that might as well be in a fucking spaceship. Would you like to explore strange new worlds? We're going to a part of town you've never seen before. This one's good. This is what this is the reality of firefighters, guys. Like you see all those movies, firemen busting through a fiery door, carrying a baby, they're actually going out to your local skate park and helping some guy get out of there because he can't fucking get out of the bowl. Your taxpayer dollars at work. This one looks like it's in the morning. And if I saw a sign that said "Be safe, die smart" in the morning, I'm definitely going to veer off. Just drive off at high speed. How do we stop the Terminators? With CAPTCHA. This one's kind of the same as that other one. No crime, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. This is a family beach. I have a feeling many of you have seen that one. So have you seen this one? Corn on the orb. It's round now. This has got to be one of those obvious plant ones where they're obsessed with corn and everything's just so weird. Corn on the orb. Even the font is upsetting. These men won't stop laughing. Okay, yeah, that's annoying, but not a crime. Well, what the fuck is man's laughter? English is a second language, am I right? This one's one of my all-time favorites. I don't use turn signals. This is nobody's business. It's privacy. I'm not telling them. After hibernation, bears reacclimate to the wild through a healthy diet and knife fights. There's somebody out there that just draws little knives in with animals. I've been seeing that all over the place. There's one's going around right now with toads, and the toad has a knife. Probably the same guy. Always a good idea. Don't smile at strangers. Avoid smoking cigarettes. Scientists have shown that cigarette inhalation can damage your lungs and your throat. So make sure you eat your cigarettes instead. While you played fetch, I studied the blade. Whenever I do something wrong at work, are you mad? You'll be shot for this. No, more like be chewed out. I've been chewed out before. Sometimes I feel like I'm going to get shot. When the loading screen jumps from 10 seconds remaining to 2 hours remaining. Yeah, that's not how time works. I've been doing that a lot lately. I've been rendering a lot of video this past week because I've been still kind of picking up Dewey's responsibilities around here. And handbrake driving me crazy. When someone says that Germany started both world wars, hey, give a little credit to Austria. really for both of them, not just World War I, but World War II, you know, the Anschluss, the annexation of Austria. Sound of Music, everyone's like, oh yeah, they hated the Nazis. Nope, they welcomed them with open arms. They loved Hitler and Austria. Don't kid yourself. Oh, the machine's broken. There we go. When Nance says buy zesty Italian dressing instead of regular Italian, Nance, you know that stuff gives me a tummy ache. April, do you like zesty Italian? I know that you like the hot Italian sandwich or the spicy Italian, and I think you said put Italian dressing on it. Do you like zesty Italian? Is that too much for you? And I ask because I know that you've got acid reflux even, so I worry that zesty Italian might be too much for you. I don't know, man. Your radiator's looking pretty rough. You know what's great about this meme is that he's actually looking at the radiator. Your coworkers are concerned you don't like them. Oh, I don't. Anything else? That meme's for me, and that meme is for somebody else that really needs to see that. If your grave doesn't say rest in peace on it, you are automatically drafted into the skeleton war. And that's memes for this Monday. I'm going to catch up with your chats, and then I'm going to leave. Let's see that Felony has already left. All right, we're catching up. Turkey pesto. All right. I think I've been to Chick-fil-A once. There's one in town where I work, but the lines are always long. Yeah, Felony, the lines are always long. Do you know what they also always are? I know you're gone, but they're always fast. They're always fast. I've never been in line long at Chick-fil-A. You can go to Chick-fil-A. You know what else you can do? You go inside. You will not be in there long. I don't know what you're wowing to, unfortunately. Nice to see you, Jen. You too, Felony. Please go to Chick-fil-A. Please don't make me address this with you again. Bye, Melanie. Napping fixes everything on Red Dead Redemption. I haven't played that game. It looked good, though. I always want to play video games. In fact, I have a Nintendo Switch, and I have video games for it. And there's a video game coming out for Nintendo Switch this year that I'm actually really excited about, but I spend almost no time playing video games. And I need to play more. And you know what would please me greatly? If I could play with you guys. Is there anyone out there that has a Nintendo Switch that could play Ninja Turtles with me? Shredder's Revenge? Is there anybody out there that can do that? Send me a DM at Difficult to Look at Pictures if that's something you could actually do. I know that I've never done it before. But I know there's a way where you can team up with someone and you can play at the same time. That's what I want to do. I want the arcade experience. So if anybody out there has a Nintendo Switch and you have Shredder's Revenge, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, hit me up. We will play. Don't you dare hate on my bagels. I love bagels. Bagels. Now I'm going to get hate because I accidentally pronounced it like a Minnesota person by mistake. I try not to smile at people at work. It's very easy for you not to smile. You're in a situation that doesn't ever call for a smile at your job. My cousin is doing work at my house as a side gig. I noticed his trailer registration expired December 2021. He said it's a tax. I don't pay tax on trailers. He is a cop. He's absolutely right. Something that drives me nuts that police officers do, they will pull people over for having expired registration when that license plate is from a different state. Let me get this right. Where I live, I pay taxes to my police department. To enforce people to pay taxes to somewhere else, I mean, at least if they have local license plates in this county, at least they're going and they're contributing to the community in which I live, right? At least they're sending, buying those plates or whatever, or paying, the ticket for not having that registration. At least that money, at least it goes towards fixing the friggin' courthouse that's condemned or whatever. But you're going to pull over someone from Iowa, Wyoming, Minnesota, Texas for having expired registration? I hope police officers are not sitting for them for that. Like, yes, it's a good pretext for a stop, I guess, if you're going to police that way, but don't cite them for it. Just say like, hey, you might want to pay taxes, your taxes. You know, go have Montana, go do the right thing, pay your vehicle registration. But you're right. Michael, Kendra and I actually, we're going to have a show about this, but how we don't believe in driver's licenses. What the hell is the point of a driver's license? Don't believe in it. You say, well, we need to make sure people are safe to drive. Well, then do it one time. Why am I renewing my driver's license every 4 years? Can you explain that to me? They don't make sure that I'm still a good driver because I'm not. If I had to prove that I'm still a good driver, I would have lost my driver's license years ago. It's not about maintaining safe drivers on the road. I think if you want to license someone to drive, and they need to be licensed if their age is 14 to 18, just while they're a minor, license them to drive. Then after that, no driver's license. You can drive a car. It's a piece of property on a public road. And if you commit an infraction, pull them over and cite them for that. But don't license them to drive. That's just a tax. Give me a break on this. I do not believe in driver's licenses. And I don't really believe in license plates either. Like, from a law enforcement standpoint, it's important to know who owns a vehicle, right? And if without registration of any kind, it would be very easy for people to say, well, he stole that car from me, and then be like, well, your name's not on it, So I get that where we have to have that, but it shouldn't. None of that should be like, you should have money that defrays the cost of processing that document, so that the taxpayers aren't paying for your registration. But other than that, it shouldn't cost anything. It shouldn't cost you $80, $100, $120, whatever it is where you are. Don't agree with it. I mean, I appreciate his anti-taxing to the government, but still, he's being a bit of a hypocrite, right? You make a good point about that, because you're there to enforce the law, and you've got to set an example, and it is something that we expect of police officers, just to follow all laws. But I'm not going to get off on a jag about it. Why are you bringing up my medical problems? You're a doctor. You just broke hippo. You're the one that confirmed it. You should have said, I have no medical problems. Oh, Drew's coming on, probably because he wants me to stop. I'll give Drew a minute to get ready. Oh, no, he's already on. Good morning, Drew. Are you getting on here to tell me to stop?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about. I was on another call, which I want to talk to you about after this. Oh, where'd you go? I think I'm
still here.
Okay. I was afraid I closed out of this.
No, I'm still here.
I was on another call that I want to talk to you about after this.
Am I in trouble?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Do you realize that's exactly what it sounds like? I want to see you in my office, and I'm like, well, it's not good.
Unfortunately, you're enjoying your last appearance on the Comm Center.
Guys, it's been a great run at Comm Center. Thank you for the last 18 months. I apologize for nothing.
No, we need to come up with a way to rob a bank, essentially, because I've stumbled into something that I'm going to get us. I'm going to help us grow. I just need the funds to do it. I
want money from me? Is that what you're asking for?
No. I'm telling you what basically what A+ Media is about to embark on.
You got to drop that, huh?
Sorry. Yeah, no. We're good. Everything.
Can't we be AAA Media? It sounds like a tow truck company.
It sounds like a baseball.
We're going to be listed first in the phone book, Drew.
Oh yeah, I mean that should be natural.
Drew, how are you? Did you want to talk about the presidential assassination, since I didn't have a clip of you talking about that?
What presidential assassination?
I should say attempt, right?
Yeah, I did a whole. I think what I'm going to do is just like. I think what I'm going to do is just release the video I did for Instagram onto the YouTube channel. I don't know.
I just released it earlier this morning.
Oh, did you?
I played it on this episode.
Wait, which one are you talking about?
I played your Alec Baldwin one.
Oh, this morning?
I played it on here, yes.
I was talking about the live I did yesterday, and I don't expect you to know this, John. I did a live. Oh, thank you, Lauren and April have donated
combined $20 to us. One of them is for me to have lunch at Subway with. So
I'm going to buy a very special Ronald Reagan mask with that for our bank heist. I did a live.
Is that from Heat, or what is that from?
How dare you, John? It's from Point Break.
Point Break. Okay, sorry. That's another Michael Mann movie, though, isn't it?
Yeah, no, and it literally popped into my mind as I was scolding you for not knowing it. I did a 1 hour live about my experience on a Secret Service task force.
Oh, yes, I saw that. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
I wasn't able to watch it. It was the thing. I was at work.
Yeah, I think, in line with like the current feel of like YouTube, not highly edited. Every once in a while we can just throw something that's unedited up there because it's the first, as you would expect, the first minute is me going, how does this work?
How does microphone work?
Yeah, right. Can they hear me? Can they hear
know
me?
what it is, though, is it's extemporaneous, Drew, and it's real. It lets people know that they're about to get the straight shit from you,
Well, much the way that people say that this shooting attempt is staged, most of our technical difficulties are feigned as well. We make them.
Oh yeah, like the first 6 months, that was just to make you love us. That was just to be endearing.
Yeah, right. That was to drive somebody else crazy, so that he wouldn't feel so bad when I left. So I think I'm just going to release that, but I don't want to. I don't want to overshadow anything that you were going to release today, unless you were doing something members only. I can't remember what.
It's cooking. I've got to wait for the copyright owners to assent to my fair use, and then I'll release it. So you go ahead for it.
Do you think that they're going to assent to your fair use?
They fucking better, since Netflix made a movie with Sandra Bullock, and they used real footage from an actual town on fire. They didn't care about the fair use of that footage of their lives being destroyed. I believe that movie was Bird Box, and they were showing footage of a major industrial accident in which many people were killed, and they were trying to show this is what the end of the world looks like or something. So that was fair use for them. So
I think we should just start creating our own footage and our own B-roll and our own mystery.
Well, the problem what I'm trying to release was that case from Ottawa County, Michigan, where the Holland police officers dispatched that I couldn't get my hands on. So I broke down the Unsolved Mysteries episode, heavily editing it, putting lots of commentary, and I had to write out this big rationale of why it's fine. But they have 30 days, I guess, to get back to me. So
I ran into one of these early on when we were when we were getting hit with these copyright violations, and the copyright claim expired after 30 days.
Hopefully they'll just ignore me.
Yeah, that's essentially what happened. Is like, we had this copyright claim, blah blah blah, and I appealed it, and then 30 days later, nobody laid claim, nobody contested it, so we moved on with it. So that's that. I'm proud of you for taking on Robert Stack and NBC Universal.
This is actually just Netflix. This is the 2022 series. So.
Oh, okay.
I would never take on Robert Stack.
No, I wouldn't either. I mean, he would have the platform to solve.
I just wouldn't do it because of sheer admiration. I love Robert Stack.
So do I. He just his work in Airplane.
Join me. Perhaps you can help solve a mystery. Scared the fuck out of me every week as a kid.
Yeah, Tuesday night. Could you not hear the theme in your head right now, though?
Oh,
don't play it.
Don't. I won't, because it'll get us demonetized. But also just because I don't want to scare myself. That theme song does scare the shit out of me, though. Like this past weekend, I was watching the old Robert Stack episodes because it's free to watch. And because an unsolved mystery from the 80s is still unsolved, it's still as good to watch today. It's just like, man, this show scared the fuck out of me. You want to know why I'm all warped and stuff? It's because of this.
Well, that's great. I think I am gonna just release my Secret Service stuff. I don't know if anybody saw that on Instagram. It's fine if you haven't. It's fine if you don't watch it on YouTube. But I think we can get a broader audience with it. And what I was saying about the editing is like the trend in YouTube is to like, instead of the heavily edited Casey Neistat, like all these other guys that do these amazing videos, sometimes it's good to show your authenticity by just pressing record and talking. And that's basically what I did for 30 minutes. And I gave a full on like overview of what goes into a Secret Service visit. I was going to be on Tatum's either podcast or something, but he hasn't got back to me. And it's not set in stone. And I'm not being delusional. I have video and photographic evidence that he invited me. So
who the hell's Tatum? I like that you're trying to do a press fit. I'm like, I don't know.
I'm referring to Tatum O'Neal from Paper Moon, star of Paper Moon.
I thought it was Dredrick Tatum, the fake Mike Tyson from The Simpsons. I don't know.
Was Tatum O'Neal Ryan O'Neal's daughter or sister?
I honestly don't know who anybody is. Why are we even trying to make me look smart? It's backfiring.
Hi, Carly. No, it was Brandon Tatum. He's a pretty.
I know. Yeah, he's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah. So he invited me to sit on his panel, but he hasn't got back to me. So maybe when I'm watching his panel, I'll know that I was not actually invited. That those were empty words.
Maybe it's just a mistake. Maybe see the best in people.
Yeah. All I'm trying to do is get the Comm Center word out there. So like if he's got 2 million YouTube followers and I'm sitting on his panel with this Comm Center thing over my head, I'm more than willing to share my experience with him.
You can tell him that I exist.
I'm sorry that I don't have well, the people will come to us and they'll know you exist.
But you could mention me.
I'm sorry I don't have an after show or a coffee break.
Someone was telling me that I ought to change the name of the after show to the Comm Center with Jonathan Bates. What do you think about that?
I like it. And we can call our show the pre-show. I've suggested this a long time ago.
Actually,
pre-show.
No, he's telling the truth. Like when the first time we were ever talking about doing the show, he's like, should we call it Comm Center with John and Drew? Like, because he was trying to like put me first because I'm the actual dispatch or whatever. I'm just like, I'm way too embarrassed about this. I don't want my name on this product. No, I for sure don't want to be associated with this enterprise that I'm about to undertake. So no.
All right. So that's that. I didn't mean to.
Did you just drop in to like tell me that I'm in trouble and that you need to talk to me about money? Was that?
Nope.
Oh.
Nope. I didn't mean to let everyone know that you're in trouble, but no, Jonathan, listen, I had a really, really close friend of mine. Check this out. This is for all you cops out there. And I think Carly is probably the only one in the chat right now that is, but, or, in that kind of environment. But we always had this feeling in the pit of our stomach, like you've had it, you experience it, you probably experience it all the time when like the sergeant calls you or the captain calls you like, hey, stop into my office.
I've been in the office very recently, Drew.
Yeah, but your mind just goes into this whole like, what did I do? Like
I started updating my resume, Drew.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And I have a very good friend of mine. He was a lieutenant at the time. He got a call to go to the sheriff's office. Like that's a big deal for us. There's 3,500 people. I mean, it's a big agency, and he got a call to go to the sheriff's office. And he's not a feeble man by any stretch of the imagination, but he was, and he, he's strong-willed. But he's like, "Fuck, man, what did I do?" Like it's just driving him nuts the whole ride down there. And when he got down there, they handed him his captain bars.
I know. It's like, can you come down to the office for a good reason? Is it so hard to say that? Just say, come see the sheriff for a good reason. Just say that.
No, we don't even, but we should not have to say that.
No, forget it. We're way past that point. Don't try to fix the system. Just say for a good reason.
So we both swore that we were going to not do that to ourselves anymore. That if somebody wants me to come to the office, then they're just going to ask me questions and I'm going to have a fucking answer for them. It may not be the answer that they like. It may not be the answer that they want. And it may cause me some damage, but I am not going to fret my whole way down there and lose years off my life. That's part of the stress that we endure as first responders. Like,
but you realize that by fretting and losing years off your life, that it's fewer fretting years. Do you see how it comes out in the wash?
it does. I get less years to fret.
I'm not going to retire anyway. Let's face it, gang. I might as well check out of here early, through my own stress and consternation.
Stress-induced heart attack, right?
I was called into the office for a very bad reason, Drew, and I didn't tell you about this because you're on vacation, but it was like existentially bad, just so you know. I'll tell you about that when we're off the air.
Okay. All right, I'll hold you to that. So this is an awkward pause, isn't it? Oh, you're muted. Or am I?
No, I'm muted. Sorry, I was coughing. No, I'm good to end the show, I guess. I mean, I've done memes. I've done everything I need to talk about. I've talked to everybody. I mean, this is everyone's chance to kind of be live with Drew for all those people that missed that. I don't know. Nobody's really saying anything to you, though. So Thank you, everyone, for joining us today on this special live episode of the Comm Center with Jonathan Bates, in which Drew Breezy appears as a guest star. We appreciate that. Looking forward to Hannah Payne, the penultimate entry. Will air this Thursday night. It's a good episode. I've listened to it for a quality check of the audio, which I don't know if you guys are listening to on Spotify or iTunes. If you can't watch the show live, have you enjoyed the fact that it's now presented in glorious extra sound? That's right. I'm trying even harder now to make that a good audio presentation. Working extra hard. I've learned some stuff. I did some Googling and things, and just really taking the time to make that the best audio presentation that it could possibly be. So I hope you're enjoying that. Also, today being Monday, just to plug my own work, Hard Time drops at 4 Eastern with a pretty middling episode that you will never remember. Just so you know, it's that's just a pretty routine episode. And look for that on all major platforms. And we'll catch you back here on Thursday for the show and the after show. And I'm getting called into my boss's office, so hopefully I'll see you again later.
Bye.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for joining me today on this wonderful Monday.
Say farewell to John.
Goodbye forever.